introduce you to the Collins Craft Slitter. Just go through the general operation of the machine and how it works and some of the options that you can get with the machine. And first of all, we'd like to say we appreciate your interest in the machine, and it's been further view of it. If you need any questions answered, please let us know. This is the smallest machine that we make, and let's just go through the operation of it. You've got your motor and drive mounted here, the mandrel, which actually holds the material. The only rotating part on the machine when it is in operation is the material itself. The mandrel does not rotate. The cutting blade does not move other than in the direction that you're making the cut. Let me just go over a couple of options that you can get with the machine. First one is what we refer to as drive and retainer plates. Some material, because of the nature of it, may be loosely wound, or ends may not be quite square. These are one is placed on the mandrel itself. The drive plate attaches to the chuck, which actually turns the material. Then the material is loaded on, and you merely push this one up to contact the left-hand side of the material up against this one. Take these off, and then we'll show you the hoist option. Like this, you can line it up on the mandrel. It's just push up on the mandrel. We recommend for fairly heavy rolls, you leave this holding the weight until you get the chuck engaged in the mandrel. You lock it down, and you can slide it up on the chuck itself. This pretty much makes it a one-man operation if you've got the hoist. It's real easy to load even fairly heavy rolls with this. Okay, now we've got to tighten the chuck up inside the paper core. That's what actually does the driving. This knurled portion of the chuck right here grips inside the core. Merely slide it up until it stops here. Rotate this in a counterclockwise direction to tighten it. Then you're engaged in the drive system. This is the actual cutting part of the machine. We've raised the blade guard here. Anytime the machine is not being used, or you're not actually going to be cutting, make sure this is down, because it is a very, very sharp blade. Okay. There's on every machine there is a digital measuring system. We have a couple of different variations of it. This is the more advanced one. It has some extra features, but the basic machine comes one that just has a measuring device. As the machine is moved right and left, your numbers will correspond to the mandrel in inches. You can zero it at any point and either do cumulative cuts or zero it each time to make the cuts. To start the machine, you have two push buttons, one on either side of the handle, where it requires both hands on the operating handle. You merely press both buttons. That starts the material to rolling. The initial contact of the blade to the material is what's most important to get a good cut. If the material is slightly out of round or has a high spot on it, you've got to get at least the width of the blade into the material. You can see gives a good clean cut. And no problem there. You can just continue on down the road, cutting up whatever width you need to cut. One other thing, let me show you while we're right here. Another option that the machine has is what we refer to as stiff arms. It's these devices right here. If you've got a machine that you're cutting smaller rolls than the actual bow was designed for, what these do is basically narrow the throat of the bow, where you have more blade stability corresponding with the diameter of the roll. These are merely moves back and forth to line up just to clear the material on either side of it. It gives considerable stiffness to the blade. Okay. One other thing I want to look at is the blade itself, how you would receive it when you get the machine. The blade comes packed in these polyurethane canisters. There's 2 of them that comes with each machine. There's 50 foot of blade in the 1-inch canisters and 60 foot in the 1 1/4 inch blade. That's the 2 different sizes that we offer. There's 3 different blade styles. This particular one is what is called the wave blade. There's a straight knife edge, and then there's a scalloped edge, which actually is sort of the point where there's more of a definite point, where these are rounded off. The blade, each time you would load the bow, you pull the blade out, feed it through the rear of the bow into the tensioning device, which is at the front of the bow here. There's set screws on the opposite side where it's clamped down. This screw here actually puts the tension or stretches the blade. Then you'd be ready to cut once you install the blade. Now once you make ever how many cuts it takes to dull the blade, and that depends on the material. Some materials are more abrasive on the blade than others. You only need to advance about 3 inches of blade each time, rather than, you don't pull out the whole width of the bow each time, because actually there's only probably 3 or 4 inches right in the center of the bow that does the majority of the cutting. So once you would relieve the tension, back off on the set screws here, flip this blade guard out of the way, pull about 3 inches out, and you can just take aviation snips and snip that off. And you just have to be careful when you discard those little small pieces, they're still sharp. Then tighten the blade back down and retension it again, and you've got basically a new blade just by advancing 3 inches of it. This is another option that we're offering with the machine now. It's a re-roll system or an unwind system, where it enables you to put large master rolls on the back of the machine and roll off any particular size that you need onto the actual slitting part of the machine. So in other words, when you roll off the desired amount, you're already in position to start slitting it, and it's a good setup we've got here. Basically what you've got is a open loop tensioning system. You've got a pneumatic brake that keeps tension on the roll as you wind it up. It can be adjusted to as little or as much tension as you can pull with the motor. You've also got a yardage counter that you can, if you need specific size rolls lengthwise, it counts as you unwind. And let me just show you, you have a variable speed here as the wind or unwind process works. You can see it's just a fairly simple operation with a master roll, and then you have your take-up rolls here. That is the basic operation of the re-roll system. You can see the counter counting. This actual one is set up in feet. Once you reach the desired length, you can stop the machine, and now you can cut the material. You can stretch wrap this or take the edge down, whichever you would like, and then you're ready to actually start slitting this.